There are some massive changes coming to New World, and honestly, they're pretty great. Now, obviously, New World is going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment. If you check YouTube, you'll see a lot of people talking about basically how the game is broke, and there's a lot of exploits and there was gold duplication and all sorts, and I do not mean to downplay those, but in this video we're going to look at the positive changes that have been spoke about by developer Zin Ramu on the forums, and it's detailing some pretty big changes. Essentially, they are aware of the issues that people have faced in the wars, and they say it's a top priority. I suspect that the gold duping issue took the top spot briefly though, but the post essentially goes over their vision for most of the PvP content. And the first big change is a change to the rewards that you get when PvP flagged. Right now you basically get 10% while leveling, and they're happy while you're leveling with that being the reward. But essentially there's not that much reason to flag up at the end game. So they are going to give increased luck while PvP flagged. Now I presume that this is loot luck as well as gathering luck, but the post doesn't seem to specify. Now this in itself could change how the game is played. You know those elite runs? Well, now you might actually see faction-based elite runs where people are fighting in those elite areas, for example. And if you're going on a solo gathering mission, do you flag up for that luck chance? Well, if you do, you might get inconvenienced with some PvP skirmishes, but then again, you might get that, that extra legendary drop that you need. They are also going to reduce the durability damage to gear during PvP. This change basically gives you a reason to flag up in a positive way at the end game, whereas as a level 60 right now, you don't really feel the need or desire to do so. And it sounds like this is actually going to come pretty damn soon. Whether or not it'll come in the patch that is due essentially either today or tomorrow, we'll have to wait and see. And then for the midterm, they talk about how they are going to make PvP drop rewards that give you a chance of increasing your high watermark gear score. So that's essentially nice to have. I just worry that they need to make sure that they put a limit on it so that you can't just farm your friends in PvP and just consistently get better and better gear. And I wouldn't put it past Amazon at this point to overlook that. In the long term, they mention an activity that will basically give a reason for players to flag up and engage in small scale skirmishes across Eternum. This to me basically sounds like either like a caravan system or some kind of like PvP hotspot system. They don't really illuminate on this, and they do say that this isn't coming like soon. This is a more long-term vision. That sounds completely positive, but there are no real details that are given. They go on to talk about gameplay issues affecting PvP. They're going to make it easier to tell if somebody is flagged or not, therefore you know you've got help or not, and it sounds like that change might happen relatively soon. And in the long term, they want to make it easier to tell if a spell is from a friendly or an enemy, so you know if you're going to stand in the circle or not, basically. They do say this will take some time. Those things really just sound like quality of life PvP changes that are going to make PvP more fun, and yeah, well, once they get that in the game, I think that will be a positive thing for sure. And then on to the wars. Now they talk about in the patch here that they are going to be releasing soon that they have fixed a lot of the lag issues. Not all of them, but a lot of them. The proof there will definitely be in the pudding. Also, if they fixed the weapon exploits like the hatchet and the great axe and that kind of thing. Those really need to be fixed before you start solving more like gameplay concept ideas. They say that at the minute the defender is winning about 80% of the time, and they're happy with that. They're also happy with the frequency of the wars. But the biggest thing that they mention here is that they are aware that organizing a war can be pretty difficult because you're not aware of what roles people are they a tank, a DPS, etc. So they're looking at maybe implementing something in game which will basically show you that information, and you'll be able to sort out the war. Now for me here, the ship has already sailed, and really they should be looking at implementing this but for like Outpost Rush and that kind of thing, because a lot of the companies are essentially just organizing their wars with like a Discord bot or something like that. They're not necessarily relying on in-game and just dragging people's names without any information. And then they talk about something which is very close to my heart, and that is faction balance. They say that they're pretty happy with faction balance across most servers, but if they need to do something extra they will, and they say that they have some interesting ideas to sort that. However, I'd be curious what they are, and I'd be more interested in effective ways than just interesting ideas. They are aware that territories like Everfall and Windswood are generating like lots of tax gold income, whereas the ones on the outskirts are probably not doing so. Like Morningdale, for example, I can't imagine is generating all that much gold, but the upkeep for those zones is still pretty high. So they say they're going to add a new tax stream that will give income to all of the zones, which is definitely interesting. So hopefully that will balance things out a little bit. I don't think it's going to put people in Morningdale all the time. Like, I don't think that necessarily makes sense. The player base is going to focus a little bit in the middle, and that's understandable. But you need to have a reason to actually want those territories. If the income from those territories isn't very high, it's like, why are you even having them in the first place? So this will be interesting to see what it is. I'm not sure what that system would be. It'd be cool if it was like a caravan system, but this sounds like something they're going to be implementing relatively soon, and I don't think the caravan system would be that quick. I don't think they've ever really spoke about it, so it's almost assuredly not that, but I am interested to see what it actually is. They're going to be adding some new PvP missions, and this sounds like something they're doing relatively soon. Hopefully these are going to be different from the go here and hold it for 1.5 minutes, cut down some trees, and then go and get this box, take it to this box, and then come back missions, because you see them everywhere. It would be nice to have some variety, and I think they're going to spread them out across the zone as well, because they want to avoid basically PvP zergs. They want the engagements to be a little bit smaller than, say, like one faction versus another faction just in one zone, fighting until somebody gets bored. These are great changes. Hopefully there will be no more like gold duplication, iron duplication, and weapon exploits and that kind of thing, because if you get rid of those, then we can start focusing on the content and the gameplay. At the minute, it feels like Amazon are just firefighting those issues, and we're not really getting to talk about the positive stuff as much, which is understandable. As I said, I don't want to, downplay all those bugs and issues and stuff like that. They are obviously existing, and they're causing a lot of problems for the player base. When sorted, I think we may get to the point where we can actually start enjoying the game. If you like this video, do press like, and if you want to see more New World content, then hit the subscribe button. Have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.